Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. More progress happening with the Civic, and I've got a new toolbox. But it's not a new toolbox. As some of you know, I work at Nissan, but I've actually quit my job. I'm working at another garage where I don't actually need any of tools. So it's going to be a massive lifesaver having all my tools here, because before I had the basic sort of socket sets, spanners, all that sort of stuff. But now I've got everything I need. So working on the Civic and other people's cars that I help fix and keep on the road, it's going to be a massive help. So let's get on with some work. Back at it, cleaning up the Civic interior. More cleaning of the seats. And Sean, who I work with, he's giving me a hand getting it all cleaned up. I am on with the next job of mounting this power steering pump reservoir. So the pump's down there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this on the side there. So it's going to be nice and tucked out of the way, but it's got this, like that piece there that it mounts to. And I don't know where the original bracket's gone, so I've made one. So that sits up in there. So I'm going to mount that against the wall there, where that line is, and then secure it, and it'll be all down, hidden out of the way. Alright, so my little bracket is done. I've even given it a lick of paint to stop it from rusting, because it is obviously bare metal. And this is my reservoir, and that just slots in there because it's tapered. It just sits snug. So that goes there, and then this factory pipe will just go in the bottom of there, really nice and neat. And then I need to align from here, so here to the rack, and then the return will go into that little bung there. All right, so all the reservoir is on, bolted on, and it clears everything really nice. I've just done the high pressure line that comes out of the top there, and it runs underneath. I've just put the fitting in the rack there, so it'll come round and go in there. The only thing I need to do now is order a fitting for the return on the bottom, because I don't have the right size for that. So I'm going to order that, and once I get the return, I'm going to just run that along the chassis leg. I'll probably go underneath there, and then back into that little hole. So overall, it should be a nice little setup. The power steering lines are completely finished. The cables run around there, and then you just follow here. The one that goes back to the tank goes along the chassis leg into there, and then it's the bottom one that comes out of the pump itself, that braided one. That's the high pressure. So that's all finished. I just need to put some fluid in it, but I'll probably do that when I get it up and running, because I'll need the pump to be spinning to get all the fluid moving around. So that's another job ticked off the list. Got the rear seats all put back together. They've been drying out over the last couple of days, and they've come out really well. Quite happy with that. I'm going to put the fronts in now, and round where that gear stick is, I'm going to, this hole's too small, so I'm going to cut around there and try and get this to fit in there nice and neat. All back together. I'm just going to sort out that little trim now. Okay, so I'm on with the centre console piece. I've cut the nice big square out of it, and this end piece, I've just masking taped that on because I glued it on, because I had to chop away loads of stuff for the clearance. So once that dries, I can put it in, but the way that it is now, there's plenty of clearance and it doesn't hit anything, so that's that done. The trim on the inside is all finished and bolted down. Like I said before, I just want to get a gator to go around there to hide it. I wouldn't mind actually maybe possibly lowering this gear stick, or not yet, but I'm going to wait until I drive it and see how it feels. But yeah, get a gator on there, tidy all that up, and that should be the inside pretty much finished. And moving on into the engine bay, the rock cover is all painted and on. This thing is looking really nice. It's like crackle black. More progress. I've got a throttle body. I've just taken all the sensors off, cleaned it off, and given it a lick of paint. There's only going to be two sensors I'm going to run. The one that goes in here, which is the map sensor, and then the throttle position. The one on the bottom is going to get blanked off, and there's another idle control one there. That's all going to go. So I'm going to get this bolted on. While I'm waiting for that to dry, I've put the clutch fluid in, and I've bled the clutch, so that's all done. But while I'm waiting for this to dry, I might crack on with these power cables to link them together. Alright, so the throttle body is on, all the sensors plugged in, and the factory cable from the old engine actually fits and works. I've managed to adjust it, and with the pedal I can open the throttle to 100%, and then it goes all the way back to how it sits on idle. So really pleased with how that's come out, and really happy that I can use that stock cable, which means I just don't have to buy anything else. All I need to do is get a sort of air filter and pipe, but we'll sort that out. That'll be one of the last things I do. Alright, so moving on to wiring, I've got these little terminals where I basically just cut those pieces off so I can join the cables together like securely, and then obviously they'll all get insulated, so they'll go on there and then obviously to the bottom. So I need 4 in total, so I've just cut them, they're ready. Cut these and then I'll start running this cable and get that wiring finished. Alright, so the wiring is now finished. I've made a new earth, put a new connector on there, and the power cable is going from here all the way down to the alternator and starter motor all on, and I've connected the battery up, so in theory it should now crank over. Obviously we're not going to start it because there's still no fuel, but if we can crank it then that's a good sign. So Luke is in the car right now somewhere, and we're going to just try and crank it for the first time and see if it works. So the Civic turns over for the first time with a new engine and setup. It's always a bit nervous when you change the car this much to hear it first crank over. The only reason it's not fired up is because I haven't finished the fuel lines yet, but I ran out, so I ordered some more. I didn't quite order enough as I thought, because in my mind I was like, oh, sort of one reel will do, but I forgot on this there's a return line as well, so I need to go to back and forth from the tank twice. So I've got plenty of fuel line now, so in the next couple of days I'll be getting all the fuel systems sorted, get the injectors put in, and then it should turn on, run, and as long as the map on the ECU is what the guy said it was when I buy it off him, I might even be able to drive it. So you'll have to wait and see until the next video, but for now guys, that's the update I've got on the EG, and I will see you in the next video.